Shrouded in shadows and cloaked in mystery, the melody of an ancient gramophone echoes through forgotten halls at the stroke of midnight. But with each haunting note, an insidious curse unravels. Why do melodies sound sweeter in the dark? Tonight we find out. Gather closer, my midnight listeners. I'm Violet Nocturne, your eternal companion in the darkness. Tonight, let me spin you a tale of obsession, betrayal, and an unrelenting melody that marks its victims for eternity. Welcome to another night of Echoes of the Dark. Our story carries us to the quiet, humid outskirts of a small, forgotten town where antiques collector Miles Granger lives in self-imposed solitude. Granger is a man obsessed with relics of the past, specifically music. He prides himself on owning record players, music boxes, and rare vinyl collections. The centerpiece of his collection, however, is incomplete, a gramophone so rare it's practically mythical. During one of his weekly visits to estate sales, Miles finds a peculiar dusty record sitting alone on an otherwise empty shelf. No cover, no label, just a single phrase etched into the vinyl itself. The Song of Reverie. A seller notices Miles's interest, smiling strangely as he says, "It's yours, for free, but you may wish you'd left it there." Miles chuckles at the superstition and snatches it up. Little does he know, this single decision will render him a pawn to forces he can't comprehend. Back at home, Miles eagerly yet lovingly cleans the mysterious record and places it on one of his polished, vintage turntables. The stylus fits snugly into the groove. A tremor of expectation surges through him as the needle hits the black vinyl. For a moment, there's static, and then music. But this is no ordinary music. The haunting melody is both enchanting and disorienting. A slow waltz played in minor tones. It seems to fill the air with a palpable weight, as if the song is embedding itself directly into his mind. With each passing second, Miles feels an unexplainable chill prickling his spine. Yet he can't stop listening. He's spellbound. Soon after, inexplicable things begin to happen. That night, as he drifts to sleep, a faint echo of the song floods his dreams. Only this time, he sees blurred figures waltzing in endless spirals under a fractured moon. He wakes up in sweat, his ears still ringing with the notes. In the following days, the obsession takes hold. Miles can think of nothing but the Song of Reverie. When he tries to explain the melody to friends, he finds he can't recapture its depth. But more disturbingly, they look at him with concern, their faces pale. Attempts to describe his nightly visions only bring disbelief. But late at night, when he's alone, he feels watched by shadows darker than any other corner in his house. The gramophone becomes a constant companion, its melody a cruel lover that holds him in thrall. Intrigued, yet horrified, Miles attempts to learn of its origins. He scours the internet and libraries, poring over everything from folklore to forgotten music, but finds no references. Apart from one whisper of a tale in obscure forums, a gramophone that calls its owner to their end. The melody is said to steal snippets of a listener's soul, but only after they play it for others. But Miles brushes it off, until the next occurrence, another restless night, plagued by dissonant echoes. This time, when he wakes, he hears it clearer than ever. The song is playing downstairs on loop. But Miles hadn't touched the gramophone before bed. Panicked and barefoot, he scrambles down the stairs, where he finds not just music, but movement. Shadowy shapes that flicker like the echo of film reels, swirling rhythmically around the gramophone. Miles hardly recognizes his own voice as he screams, disrupting the scene that was never meant for mortal eyes. In desperation, Miles decides to destroy the gramophone. He hesitates, knowing it's perhaps the crown jewel of everything he has collected. But as he raises a hammer, the shadows form a solid dark figure with hollow, glowing eyes. In a voice that seems composed of 1,000 whispers, it speaks one chilling phrase: Finish the waltz with us, and you'll understand. The sound strikes something primal inside Miles. Against every instinct of self-preservation urging him to flee, Miles finds himself lowering the hammer, stepping closer as the shadows part to reveal himself. A projection of his pale figure staring back from within the reflections of the gramophone's golden horn. Reality warps as the room elongates into a macabre ballroom flooded with impossibly bright darkness. Miles cannot move, yet finds himself dancing compulsively. The same pattern he had dreamed, legs jerking, but coordinated to the eerie, haunting melody. The gramophone plays on, and suddenly, Miles realizes the truth he'd refused to entertain. His flesh is growing faint, translucent like vapor. A dark laugh consumes the room, as the host, the presence from the gramophone, says, "Only those claimed by the dance truly hear reverie. You are not the first, Miles. Soon, you'll not be the last." With each spin, Miles fades until there is only the melody left where he stood. The vision of him disperses with the shattering of vinyl, only his empty home left behind, and somewhere echoing in the quiet night, the haunting notes still play. And so, dear listeners, the next time you see a record without a label, a gramophone with too much character, beware of the melody that might choose you. Some songs, after all, demand more than attention. They demand souls. This has been Violet Nocturne, spinning another tale to tuck you into the shadows. Until the next haunting resonance, sweet dreams.